to share with you again on this, the Stock Exchange's National Investor Education Week, where we give the investors the opportunity to interact with our various stakeholders and to uncover some opportunities to do further business. Before we begin, I want to ask, as we do with all the Jamaica Stock Exchange events, ask our marketing officer and our normal prayer warrior, Ms. Charlene Steer, to lead us off with her usual warm prayers. Good afternoon, Charlene. You're still muted, Charlene. You're still muted.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Let us pray. Eternal God and our Father, we thank you because you are an example of how we should be family. You didn't have to create us, but you created the universe, people, because you wanted a family relationship. And above all families, Lord, you have made Jamaica the #1 family in the world. There's no other country that can match us in terms of our brand, our numbers, our size, and our impact across the world. As our text said, to advance the beauty, increasing beauty, and to advance the welfare of the whole human race. And this afternoon, we have a similar situation. Some are here on Jamra, and others across the world join us today because we want to advance, both personally, as a community, as a nation, wherever we are. We thank you for all the sponsors. We thank you for the Jamaica Stock Exchange that has made it possible. We thank you for the conflict. We thank you for all the persons here. And Father, we put a demand on your word in Genesis that this is nothing new, that you have people across the world. And as Joseph said to his fellow brethren in Genesis, and God sent me before you to preserve your prosperity of the earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt. Fear not, Jamaicans, to travel across the world, for I will be there to make thee a great nation. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren, and all his father's household with bread according to their family. We pray, O God, that the same heart that Joseph had will be in the heart of everyone who joined here this evening. That whatever we have is for all of us. That, Lord, we learn to share, to be a community. And whether the world gets better or worse, Lord, Jamaica will continue to arise and shine, because, Lord, we'll take care of each other. So, Father, pour out your blessings on every organization represented here, every family, every household. Let us harvest. We go from harvest to harvest. Let us go from strength to strength and from glory to glory. And let today's meeting be the beginning of great things for Jamaica and Jamaicans across the Jamaican diaspora. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, Charlene. Always good to start off with prayer. Well, this evening, as I said, it's always a very happy time when we get to engage the diaspora and to share the good news of the Jamaican landscape, the Jamaica Stock Exchange in particular, with the diaspora. I want to thank our sponsors, Ncb Capital Markets, Jamaica Stock Exchange eCampus, the Bank of Jamaica, Marita Investments, Sagicor Investments, FHC Investments, MH&Co Business Advisors, the Financial Services Commission, and JDIC, the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation, for partnering with us in this journey. We have quite a nice lineup for you this evening. We will, after we hear from our Honorable Consul General, we'll see her presentation on why you should be investing in the stock market. And we'll also hear about regulation, so you find out how your money and your investments are protected. We'll speak about the JCSD and some of the services offered by JCSD, including the mandates and why you should use the mandates to better manage your dividends. Ncb Capital Markets will also share information on the process of buying and selling shares on the market. And Barita will share a presentation on online trading. All the people in the overseas markets always ask us about online trading. We have done so, and our population and our participation has grown tremendously since online trading became was something that we started to do. So that's the lineup. We expect it to be a good evening, and we encourage you to ask questions. You can type the questions in the chat, and as much as possible, I will fit them in with the respective presenters. But without further ado, I know CG Mayor is challenged for time, so I will ask him now. Welcome you, CG, and ask you to bring your quick, kind message. Over to you, Consul General Oliver Mayer, Consul General of Jamaica to Miami.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Actually, on my way home, my wife's birthday. So the bigger boss is having her birthday tonight. So we're gonna be doing a family move. But listen, I couldn't miss this opportunity just to say congratulations to the Jamaica Stock Exchange and all the folks who have put together this great seminar. Part of our mandate at the consulate, of course, is economic diplomacy. As you heard before, I'm Oliver Mayer, Consul General of the Southern United States, which includes 13 states. And a part of what we do is that we work closely with JARO and the Jamaica Stock Exchange in terms of getting out the word of investing back home. And, you know, with a lot of videos going around and with time and turning the diaspora that things are bad back home. And so those we acknowledge the challenges, we also have to highlight some of the good news that's taking place. And we, for example, that, you know, we have had a 5.7% quarter-over-quarter growth. We know about the World Bank that we have had the best tourist sometimes. We, for example, that our debt to GDP, which in 2012 was at 147%, is at 96%.
What's up, nigga? Woo!
Yeah. And certainly, we that here as part of our mandate at the consulate. And, you know, online trading is such a unique, it's such a great feature for us to share. I mean, I am not somebody who just talks about that walk. I mean, I am really invested in the stock market. At least 2 brokers to execute my trades, and I've been sharing the message in the diaspora of how easy it is for us to own a piece of the rock. In another couple of weeks in Orlando, and I apologize if there's a challenge with the internet. I see a couple of messages. In a couple of weeks in Orlando, we'll be working with the festival. They'll be providing $1 for each ticket sold towards the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. But then it will be a community investment forum where we share some of the good news, including about the stock exchange. So you weren't able to hear me, and I'm getting some feedback that the reception may not be as good. Just for that, you know, again, congratulations for those who are putting together this seminar. Look forward to you having an excellent evening.
Thank you very much, Consul General. And we know that you are challenged for time, and say hello to the wife and happy birthday. Your bandwidth was a little low, so it chopped up a little bit, but we got 95% of what you were saying. We thank you for your time, and we look forward to the collaboration later this month on the Jerk Festival event. Thank you again for your input, and have a safe and enjoyable evening. All right. All right, Oliver, thank you very much. So now we're going to get right into it. Why should we invest in the stock market? That's a question that can be answered in several ways, but I would ask the experts to do that, and I'm going to invite Michael Johnson, Deputy Group Business Development Manager, for the Jamaica Stock Exchange, to join us. Let me just remove that. Sorry about that. Kemar, just watch that. I think we're getting some people coming in that really shouldn't be here. Yes, so Michael Johnson is going to start his presentation, which will be on, you know, why invest in the stock market. Deputy Group Business Development Manager and Senior Marketing Officer at the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Welcome, Michael. Over to you.
Thank you, Andre, and welcome to all the persons in the diaspora who are online and participating in this occasion. Our National Investor Education Week is designed for you as well to bring you up to date, and also for persons who are first timers or not so familiar with what is happening on the Jamaica scene as it relates to this equity market. We are happy that you made the time out to be here with us. And you know, the topic says, why invest in the stock market? We all do the 9 to 5, whether you're an entrepreneur or employed to an organization, and you can only do so much work for yourself physically. Now, it is important that what you earn, the money you earn, also works for you. And that is where I will focus this evening in terms of my presentation.
You're going to be sharing your screen, Michael?
Yes.
You're not seeing it?
Hold on, I'm getting there.
While Michael sets up, I just want to know how widely spread our audience is. If you could just type in the chat where exactly you are situated, listening to us, watching us this afternoon, so we can cover the full map of the world. Thank you. Somebody from Kingston, yes. Great. Keep them coming. Okay, Michael, go ahead. Thank you. Remember to unmute.
Okay, sorry about that. Great. So it's really putting your money to work. And that's the bottom line as it relates to, while you are doing your regular 9 to 5, your money is also doing its 24/7, I would say, because it really doesn't stop. The beauty about money is that it doesn't go on day off. It doesn't have holiday. It really don't get tired. It doesn't go on paternity or maternity leave. It doesn't go on sick leave. So all the benefit, it can work. The idea is really, how do you find a medium to have that money work for you? And it provides benefit in itself for a number of things as well. So it can do for school fee, it can do for doctor bill, it can do for retirement, it can do for vacation, and a lot of us need to take vacation. So it helps to relieve the stress once you have money working for you. And the beauty about it is that the stock market, you don't need a large amount of money to start. We always say, don't sit on the fence, get into the water, get your feet wet, and start early. Start with what you have and grow over time. So that is the most important thing. So it's not about working for your money. It's about having your money working for you. And that is what the market, one of the reasons why you need to invest in the stock market. So the Jamaica Stock Exchange, one of the world leading exchange, and in 2015 and 2018, we were the #1 exchange in the world. Currently, since 2017, our combined market capitalization was over $1 trillion. And just for the purpose of this, I'm speaking in Jamaican dollars now, because this is where the market is, and we want you to have that in mind. So I did not do a conversion, so because I want you to keep it as it is in Jamaican terms. So this is the performance up to 2022. We started the year with 69 securities. And as of September, as recent as last month, we are now at 71 securities and 52 companies on our main market. On our junior market, which started in 2009, we started this year with 41 securities. And as of September, we are at 47 securities and 46 companies. And we do have a market for US currency. Yes, we do. And that market now have 17 securities. We have one new one this year. So we have 18 securities now on that market. So overall, the JSE year to date currently have 100 companies listed and 148 securities. And just for the persons who are not so familiar with the securities versus company, it simply means that what a company can have more than one securities. So we do have companies on the exchange that have multiple securities, one company, multiple securities, and that is why the securities number is greater than the company that are listed. So I give you a classic example with two. For instance, JPS. JPS is one company, and they currently have 4 securities on the exchange. Same thing with JMMD, one company, and they have about 5 or 6 securities on the exchange because they have preference shares on the exchange as well. So that is the reason why the number of companies versus the number of securities, you see that variance. So let's look at some of the performances. And as we know, and as we will see here over the 5-year period, in 2019, there was a peak over 550,000 points where all index in terms of the main index is concerned. And of course, like everything else during that, and every market, I should say, across the world, there was that nosedive as it relates to the pandemic. And we now have seen where things are tapering off, and we anticipate that we will still start to see some growth in 2022 and beyond. So, and point to note, especially as it relates to our junior market, and the junior market for persons who are not familiar again, is where we have some of the smaller companies that are listed on the exchange, and they have some benefit being on the junior market where they pay no corporate tax in the first 5 years, and they will pay corporate tax, 50% corporate tax in year 6 to 10. Now, what that means is that the earnings that they would have paid in corporate tax, the company will retain those earnings as part of their revenue base. So it is significant that you understand the growth path of these companies on the junior market because of that retained earnings within that no corporate tax for the 5 years, and 50% will always encourage growth, which is what it was designed to do. and therefore you will find that the growth pattern in the junior market companies are extremely, extremely good for most, if not all of them. So you would see the junior market recovery would always be much better than the main market, which are more mature companies than the main market and more established company. But nevertheless, these companies are still earning and pay dividend, even though their index is not moving in a similar way. And I'll show you further in the presentation how they are performing where that is concerned. So what are the benefits of owning shares? And I miss three here that are the generic three, which is capital appreciation. And what that means is simply this. So if you purchase a stock and let's say $1 for $1, that price of the stock move over time to $6. So the capital appreciation is really the difference between the purchase price and the current price. So capital appreciation, and this is really what a lot of persons will buy shares for, and your investment advisor will always tell you about the capital appreciation for some stocks. However, as you would know, that not all stocks capital appreciation, whether it's junior market or main market, grows very fast in short period of time because of the nature of the company and the business that they are in. The demand for this and this price of the stock may not move in that regard, but that is only one element. The other and what I would consider the most important element for me as an investor. I know this is not a financial advice for me to you, but it's just my own personal thing. I like companies that pay dividend regularly. And the truth be told is that the requirements for listed companies on the JSE, all listed companies have what is called a dividend policy. And a dividend policy is simply this. It's a policy that states in the prospectus that the company will pay X% of their profit as dividend if the company sees fit to do so. Now, a dividend policy does not guarantee that a dividend is paid. Remember, it has to be after tax profit. So if the company is not profitable, then obviously no dividend will be paid. And I'll give you two inverse example where that is concerned. Now, you may be familiar with a company that was listed before, which is Cable and Wireless. You may know it as Flow, you may know it as Line, you may know it as Jamintel. The name has changed, same company. They have not issued dividends in almost, and they were one of the founding companies on the exchange, and they have not paid a dividend up until the point that they were delisted in almost 20 years. But their capital appreciation in terms of the stock price was attractive. So a person would have bought that stock for the capital appreciation, but not necessarily for the dividend. Similar with cement company. Cement company did not pay a dividend in almost 15 years. But the capital appreciation of the stock was attractive again to investors. So you find that persons will mix their portfolio based on their own investment objective and where they can strategically align that particular stock with their own outcome that they would want in terms of those stocks. So that is how the market operates. So you can look with your and have a discussion with your advisor to look at how best you can maximize a company's or stock performance to suit your need. And the same thing goes. There are companies that price don't move a lot, but they pay regular dividend, right? So again, with your advisor, that is what you need to do. Sit, look at what a particular stock can benefit your portfolio, and then you can make that decision. Thirdly, of course, is saving option. And you see I have mandate here, and Tamika will tell you how best to use your mandate. And a lot of persons, Council General Mayor, we were in Fort Lauderdale recently, and there were a lot of persons who stopped by. They have shares. And I remember someone have the physical, says she has a physical copy of her share certificate that needs to be converted to an electronic form. So you can have a mandate associated with it. And the mandate really is an instruction that tells you the registrar where to send your dividend money. That's simply what it is. And Tamika will give some more explanation where that is concerned. Most importantly, outside of these three, what owning shares also provide is wealth creation for a generation. So you can have your children, when you purchase the stock, you can have their name on it at the start. They're a minor. And it can be passed on to them in your, as it relates to, if you have passed on, they are on the share certificate, because if they are not, it have to go to your estate, and it has to go through probate and all of that. If you are on it as a parent, you die, your child is on that certificate, all they will need to pay is a transfer tax at the stamp office to have the share in their name. So they will have the benefit, and they can do all that they need to do in terms of getting the dividend and trading the shares. Now, earlier I said to you, you look at the benefit of owning shares, and one of them, this needs to be adjusted, okay. And one of them is price appreciation. Now, I mentioned cement company, which I think, okay, and here we have Caribbean producers, Jamaica. In 2017, it was $3.30. And just look along the list. Ncb Financial Group, in 2017, it was $63. Where is it now? Almost $90. And there are a number of shares. So if you should have this mix of portfolio, right? In 2017, you would have bought all these shares. Now, let's say you purchase 100 units. Can you imagine what your portfolio will look like now in terms of the return on this capital appreciation? So this is a simple example of diversifying your portfolio. So we do have companies in the manufacturing sector. We have companies in the financial sector. We have company in the distribution sector. We have company in telecommunication, hotels, betting and gaming, and of course manufacturing, fuel. So it's a diverse portfolio by having these shares in your portfolio, and therefore it provides an opportunity for you, because like everything else, not all sector perform consistently right throughout. So you will find that if the manufacturing sector, for instance, and I will bring the COVID in. Recently when COVID, what happens? Airline, hospitality sector declined significantly because it's a people sort of sector. But what happened is that the financial sector now benefits, because you don't have to go into the bank, so they have to put in necessary technology to allow people to do transaction online. So they do collect fees from that. So their fee income increase. I mean, it's more convenient for you, but the fee income increase. We talk about the distribution channel as well. People are not able to go to the supermarket in large numbers, but they were able to buy things online and therefore have it delivered to them. So the distribution network for companies that are in distribution. So you take those things into consideration. You don't have to be a PhD in finance to buy stocks. Your broker is there to guide you. Also use what is around you for your benefit, right? And that will help significantly as it relates to building your portfolio and investing in the stock market, allowing your money to work for you. Money doesn't sleep. because there are companies that are listed on the exchange that are in a different time zone in terms of subsidiaries or where they have money earning. So when you are sleeping in the United States or in Jamaica, there's some money working for you in Australia, there's some money working for you in Asia, because they are invested in companies and other sector that have money working for you right throughout. So I also mentioned one of the benefits is dividend. And dividend, I say again, is after-tax profit that is distributed to shareholders. So how the dividend work is that dividend is paid per share. So if I have 100 shares of Burrito investment, I would get dividend on my 100 shares. Andre have 1,000 shares, he will get dividend on his 1,000 shares. So he will, so if the dividend, and let's use the round numbers, so if the dividend is $9 for the quarter, then I will get $9 times my 100 minus the 25% tax. Andre will get the same, $9 times his 1,000 minus the 25% tax. So the money is working for you, and therefore you now you can do anything with that fund. So remember I spoke about the mandate. So the mandate will determine where your dividend goes. You can do it for whatever purpose you want to do. You can reinvest, you can pay school fee, you can go vacation, it's up to you. So again, having these companies in your portfolio over that 5-year period and receiving this dividend over that period, again, it speaks volume to having your money working for you. Another reason why investing in the market is always a good option where that is concerned in terms of growing wealth and of course for future generation wealth as well. Now you need to, and I have it here, think like a broker. So you need to ensure that you have the information at your fingertip. Come on, how do I minimize this thing here? Okay, so you need to follow, and I always tell persons that, look, you don't have to be watching the markets like your surveillance camera at home, you know, or, you know, it is there. The information will always be there. And I know a lot of persons in the diaspora do watch our regular news, but most importantly, the JSE website is your source for information. Also, we now have our cable channel, which is the Caribbean Business Exchange. I encourage you that however you can access it, it provides market information on right throughout the day. So it is important that you keep abreast of what is happening. You don't have to be there thinking that, oh boy, this information come out and I don't know. It's always, I've always said your broker is like, it's really a marriage because it's a relationship that you have. And it is important that you do so. They will send you timely information, and know that everybody has a device, a smart device. It is at your fingertip. They can send you information as you so desire. Know your investor profile. And it simply means that you must know how risk averse you are. If you are someone who, and usually the standard thing, and I'm not a financial advisor, so I will say the standard thing they're saying, when you're having gray hair like me, you don't want to take a lot of risks. If you're young like this young lady, then you may want to take a lot of risks because then you have time. And that's why I said you need to start early. And early for you will determine on your own timeline. So nobody can determine your early for you. You have to determine what is early for you based on your own timeline. Your network, you need to know what is it you have. So your your asset versus your liability. That is frightening for some people sometimes, I must admit. But it is also good for you to manage and monitor how your network is, because it is something that can change, and you just have to put a plan in place to ensure that your assets far outweigh your liabilities over time. Most importantly, track your investment. And again, the JSE website allows that. We are improving our mobile app. It will be out shortly with improved access to information. And we encourage you to go to the App Store, be it Apple or Google, or Android store, and to download that when it comes so you can track your investment. Again, your broker website allows that information. The JSE website allows that information. So you have no excuse not to be tracking your investment. Most importantly, especially people in the diaspora, it is important that your correct or change of address or email is known to your broker as well as your registrar or the company that you invest in. It's important. It helps you to track your investment in that form, because they will send out information to you on a timely basis using the necessary access point for you. So and the easiest one is usually a text message or an email. So it's important that you check to see what information is there for you, and you can update accordingly. We have been having IPOs, APOs, even during the pandemic. The market doesn't go to sleep because of the pandemic. It may slow down a bit, and that is globally, and that is understandable, because in time of uncertainty, people are cautious about investing and they want to have cash. So it is understandable. But during that time, we did have IPOs and APOs. An IPO is an initial public offering. Simply means that it is the first time the company is offering shares to the public. I go again. An IPO is the first time the company is offering its shares to the public. That's why it's an initial public offering. An APO is additional shares offered by the company. So the APO is issued after a company is listed on the exchange, right? So they would offer additional shares. And in most cases, not all, but in most cases, it's at a reduced price. I think Burrito did an APO recently, some time ago, and it was at a discounted price. And if you look at the price now, you would see that a lot of people benefit from that. So get in, and now probably 5 or 6 of our brokers have what is called an APO application that you can get on board just by logging on and using that portal to get on. Don't wait until it is closed, oversubscribed, and you have seen it, and person said, boy, you know, it opens at 1 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, and by 2 minutes after 9 it closed, sold out, and I want to get in. But never worry, there's always the opportunity to access that same security on the secondary market, right? Which is really what the stock exchange is about. That's where the action is really, the secondary market, where the trading takes place. Now where persons will want the share you bought for $1 will pay for it for $2. So don't worry if you miss the IPO. The important thing is to have a broker account. When the IPO comes out or is published, you want to get in early. But if not, if you got in and want more, then you can always go on the secondary market. And that is where, as I said, where the action is as it relates to buying and selling shares. So it's important to try and get into, make sure that you're in contact with your broker on a regular basis, even to set an alert just like your clock alarm, you want to have an alarm for your broker. When is the next IPO coming out? Let me know immediately. I have some dividend in my mandate that I want to use to invest. No more real money. You reinvest what you have. All right, so get in. And once you're in, you can do a number of things on Trader Pro, our online trading platform. And Hopeton will take you through that process, which has changed since COVID as it relates to access, just like online banking, online platform for trading in our local environment, and it provides a number of opportunities for you. So I'm sure Hopeton will give you a full-fledged in terms of the benefit, but I have a few here that I can just highlight, and it is significant as it relates to having your money working for you. And that's the reason why you need to get into the market. So you can view your statement. So if you want to do a transaction or you want to do something, you can view your statement on the JTrader Pro platform, right? You can look at market performances. So it's important that you stay for Hopeton. If you have to go, please don't go. Hopeton is a closer, and believe me, it will worth your weight. So please ensure that you know how to use a JTrader Pro as it relates to buying and selling shares and get into the secondary market if you miss or if you want to have more of the APO or the IPO. Now, what is happening with the JSE for 2020 and 2021 and beyond? So we have surpassed some of these already. We are looking at new market development, trading of government securities with a collaboration with the Bank of Jamaica, or direct market access, which is an excellent product and an excellent opportunity for investors as well. It allows you to trade stocks that are traded on your market through the Canadian securities side as it relates to trading on stocks that trade in the US. Simple, easy. I've tried it and it's very easy to do. Your broker will take you through the process and it's manageable, right? So consider that. And we are having a big launch soon, but it's operating now. And we encourage you to ask a broker and find out how you can get on. We have started this short selling sensitization. We have a session recently. And again, it's an opportunity for persons who are a little bit more savvy about the market to get deeper into the market as it relates to trading as well. Our digital asset, again, is in terms of the cryptocurrency and blockchain technology that is still being developed, and we expect to have some announcement in next year. And our data commercialization has really started as well, where we have access to data that you as an investor can access those data through contacting us here at the JSE, and we can provide you with that data as it relates to what you would need for your investment decision. As I said earlier, we are upgrading our website. We have started that and it's in a very attractive stage now, but the work continues. And our mobile app, it's long coming, the upgrade, but be patient with us. I'm sure you're going to be very pleased when it is out, and therefore you will be able to participate in all our activities. So it's really about providing products and services for our stability as an exchange and to ensure that we provide that conduit for you with your wealth creation. I want to thank you for your time and patience, and I look forward if there are any questions. Andre, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Michael. Just to mention, you mentioned data commercialization. Effectively, we have 53 years of data here that all individuals would want for various reasons, whether students, university persons, journalists, other financial entities, etc. So we'll be putting packages together which will allow you to subscribe for data on a regular basis, where you can actually plug in and pull the data yourselves. So this will give you the opportunity to have the information at your fingertips easier and quicker. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I'm not sure if there are any questions in the chat.
Well, there have been some questions that I've been covering a couple of the questions that came in through the chat. So
I have a question. Lawrence Walker, President and CEO of Sankofa African American 3D Museum. We're the first virtual reality 3D museum in the country and around the world. We launched earlier this year. One or two questions I have. Great presentation. I did not know Jamaica had a stock exchange, but it's good to know. And I'm glad you indicated in the link that you're going to send this link out so I can pass it on to a lot of my people here in Florida in the technology umbrella that might be interested. I'm interested in investing, more curious about the technology, number one, more curious to know on the metaverse. Will the Jamaica Stock Exchange invest in small companies that are gearing up for the metaverse? And anybody that's not moving in that platform of the metaverse, you better get ready, because this will enhance your business twofold.
Well,
but
just to say that the stock exchange doesn't invest, the stock exchange facilitates investment. So if you have a company that you want to list on the exchange, you contact our brokers who will put your story together, wholesale it, and send it to the investing public, who will then say yes or no. And then when they make those investments, you apply for listing on the Jamaica Stock Exchange and we review. So we don't invest directly. We are the facilitator of investment.
Okay, I got that. Good. Thank you. Thank you for your answering that question.
There are a couple of brokers will be on later in the presentation who can speak more directly about how to facilitate your company being listed on the exchange. So thank you for that. That's a good opportunity as well. So if you can hang on for a little bit, Mr. Geddes' presentation will show us some of the regulatory side of things and what is being done to ensure that investors are duly protected in our market. And thereafter, there are a couple of broker presentations which I believe might be able to better address your query. So without further ado, I want to introduce
Andre, I see Shauna hand was up, so I'm not sure if you're taking that.
Okay. Is there a question in the chat, or is she trying to?
I just saw a raise of hand, so I'm not so sure.
Okay. Shauna, if you want, you can try and
Put it in the chat.
unmute and ask a question quickly.
I guess I could wait for the broker. I just was trying to ask about a platform where I wouldn't be assessed a fee for every trade, or better yet, instead of having 3 separate fees and no through the stock exchange, you have to pay their fee. But some of the different banks are asking for 2 additional fees for every single trade. So my question is, where could I go where the fees are kept to a minimum, probably 1, if any?
JTrader can facilitate lower trading fees.
Right.
And there's a presentation on JTrader later. But almost all the brokers are on the JTrader platform, and the fee structure is less than going directly through a brokerage platform. So again, the solution is JTrader, but if you hang on a little bit, we'll get to that.
And
Okay,
Andrea,
thank
may I add, Shauna, that we have 14 licensed brokers, and 10 of them are actually on the JTrader platform. So you have options.
So you have alternatives there in terms of utilizing the platform called JTrader, which will assist. So we'll get back to that shortly, but I want to introduce Mr. David Geddes, who is the Director of Stakeholder Engagement, Communication and International Relations at the Financial Services Commission. Those of you who oversees the Financial Services Commission is our equivalent of your SEC, Securities Exchange Commission. Prior to this, he was also the Chief Executive of the Guyana-based Organization of Caribbean Utility Regulators. He's held senior positions with the National Water Commission in Jamaica and the Office of Utilities Regulation as well. David has a master's in business administration and is a certified regulation specialist. Fulbright alumnus, and having been selected as a Hubert Humphrey Fellow for the University of Washington in Seattle, where he pursued his studies in microeconomic policy analysis. He has extensive cross-cultural and international experience in strategic management, project management, marketing, public relations, regulatory affairs, and of course, customer service. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. David Geddes.
Thank you very much, Andre. I mean, in all of that mouthful, you forgot to mention Monroe College, which I'm sure Neville would be upset about, and Titchfield High School.
I left out on purpose.
I can understand. Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you very much to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Thank you very much to all of you from the diaspora and locally who are participating. This is a wonderful initiative that the Jamaica Stock Exchange has been putting on over the years. And as part of even a greater initiative, which is the National Investor Education Week, which is very important because it also forms a part of financial literacy, which I'm going to touch on. So thank you all very much for this opportunity. And I do promise to be very brief, not because my wife has a birthday today, but I do also have another engagement. So thank you again. The Financial Services Commission essentially was established more than 2 decades ago. And this came about after a period of turbulence in the financial sector. This turbulence saw commercial banks and insurance companies mainly at risk of insolvency, meaning that they were not liquid. They were running out of money. So 20 years later, we are focused now not just on regulation and supervision, which essentially is ensuring that companies and individuals in the securities industry, the insurance industry, and private pensions industry do what they are supposed to do, but we're also committed to promoting financial literacy and achieving financial inclusion. Most of what we seek to achieve is dependent on financial consumers having confidence in the various markets we regulate. The FSC, therefore, must promote integrity in the financial sector. And one of the ways this is ensured is by way of developing and enforcing market conduct guidelines. As the regulator, the FSC must ensure that investors operate on a level playing field. This means that all investors have access to the same information relevant to the product being offered in the marketplace. We would not want a situation where an investor, because of their position, utilizes information, say on a company's financial performance, that is not available to other investors. These actions generally are grouped as insider trading.
Like Marshall, we're at humanistic theory, certainly this
No, the FSC was established to supervise and regulate, again, the securities industry, which comprises the brokers of Jamaica Stock Exchange, the insurance industry, and the private pensions industry. Just to note that the securities sector is valued at more than $1 trillion, the insurance sector at about $600 billion, and the private pension sector at around $400 billion. So this is quite a portfolio of responsibility for the regulator. Just in case you missed that, let me repeat, in excess of $1 trillion, not million, 1 trillion, and not billion, $1 trillion. The FSC must therefore inspire confidence, and we must build a knowledge base and regulate and supervise with integrity. We ensure that our employees are well trained, are kept up to date with cutting edge technology, and also with the most relevant information and case studies available. The Commission also consults with its various stakeholders, which would be the government, licensees and registrants, as well as media and members of the public before making decisions. The FSC is therefore making decisions from an informed position. Nonetheless, it must also be noted that aggrieved parties do have an avenue of appeal against the Commission's decisions. There's a standing appeals tribunal that is staffed and equipped to carry out its mandate in an independent manner. Consumers also have a responsibility in the regulatory environment. That is why the FSC promotes financial literacy, so that as a nation, we can be the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. All of this is achieved in part through financial literacy and consequently financial inclusion. And what do we mean when we speak about financial literacy? Financial literacy is having the knowledge required to make sound financial decisions that positively impact your quality of life. Someone who is financially literate knows the importance of earning, the importance of saving, the importance of budgeting, the importance of creating wealth, the importance of protecting their assets, and the importance of planning for retirement. And when we speak about planning for retirement, I should note here that it's only about 11% of our workforce that has a retirement plan in place. So what's going to happen to that other 80-something%? Are they going to be left to begging, being a burden on their family, being a burden on society, being a burden on the government? It is financial literacy that ensures that you realize that you must create wealth and you must protect your assets. And know and have the confidence that when you invest in Jamaica, that there are regulators there that are ensuring that what is said is going to be done is done. And I mean, I like giving persons examples, real life examples. All the products and financial services that go on the market come before the FSC before they go on the market. Companies come before the FSC before they go on the market. And essentially, the FSC wants to make sure that what is coming to you has been assessed and reviewed carefully. Let's use an example in insurance. You pay your monthly health insurance fees, premiums. And then you go one day to the pharmacy or the doctor first, and you swipe the card and they say it works and you get a discount of what the doctor's fees are. Then you go to the pharmacy to fill the prescription and there's a problem. That is not good. So we want to make sure that whichever company is offering that service, that health insurance, can deliver what they say they want to deliver. Likewise with retirement planning. You don't, when you reach those golden years and you decide to retire, that there is some problem and you are no longer getting the money that you expected you're going to get, either nothing or vastly reduced sum. That is why you have to have regulation and supervision to make sure that the companies follow certain guidelines. There are guidelines for how, for instance, they invest. And even though those are being adjusted, essentially you want to make sure that if you're putting money into a retirement scheme or into a pension fund, that you don't find that that person has a friend called John Brown and decides to invest in his tire shop. Albeit the tire shop may do very well, but there must be a certain guidelines that govern where that money is invested to ensure that it is not invested imprudently. Now, many Jamaicans have an adverse view of insurance and many participate only where it is mandatory, such as for motor vehicles and for a house where mortgage has been obtained. But we also must realize that insurance is an investment and it helps to make us financially resilient. And all this means is that when something bad happens, we get sick, we meet in an accident, or we experience some act of nature, such as a hurricane, because we do live in the hurricane belt, and we are currently in the midst of the hurricane season, that we're able to withstand that shock and bounce back financially. So insurance is not just for employees. Plans are far advanced for micro-insurance to be offered to farmers, fisher folk, raftsmen, whether on the Rio Grande in Portland or Martha Brae in Trelawney, fisher folk in Old Harbor Bay, farmers in St. Elizabeth River. Microinsurance allows persons with sporadic income, as opposed to those who are weekly or monthly paid employees, to protect their crops, to protect their boats and fishing gear, and to protect their rafts and other things. So that's one sector. And of course, as I mentioned, private pensions is also another important sector. When it comes to retirement, planning, Jamaica has to improve from that 11% of our working population having a retirement plan. We need to get that, and financial literacy is one of the ways that that will happen. Also, of course, you invest in places like the stock market and in other portfolios that are offered, that are licensed and registered by the FSC, because let me emphasize here now that no matter whether the person is your lawyer, your doctor, your pastor, if they don't have a license or they are not registered with the FSC to offer investment advice, it is illegal for them to do so. It is also illegal for them to offer any investment opportunity that has not been, that product hasn't been reviewed by the FSC and approved, or that you find that the person is not registered with FSC to do such transactions. So all of that is very important. And of course, I touched on financial inclusion earlier. This basically is referring to an economy that sees citizens having bank accounts, doing electronic transactions, investing in stocks and bonds, and planning for retirement. Of note, the Financial Inclusion Secretariat is housed at the Bank of Jamaica, and it is also charged with promoting financial literacy and thereby inclusion, which is an important component of the Vision 2030 Development Plan. This has as its core Jamaica, the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. And at the core of our very being should be the desire to be financially independent, to create wealth, to create generational wealth, and to be able to retire without being a burden on our fellow citizens. I should also note that FSC prepares an annual report each year that outlines the status of the various sectors: securities, insurance, private pensions. This annual report, once it is tabled in the House of Representatives, is posted to our website and readily available for public scrutiny. Again, there are several ways to create wealth. You can get a job, you can start a business, you can get a second job, and you can invest. But of course, as Michael noted earlier, when you invest, what you're doing is you're having your money work for you. You may work 9 to 5 or whatever shift you're doing, but the money can work for you 24/7. So it's very important to invest. And of course, when you invest in an environment where the FSC and the Jamaica Stock Exchange aggressively supervise the activities of all the players, it means you're protected. It does not mean that you cannot lose money, but it does mean that your opportunities are fair and market conduct guidelines are clear and transparent. We do not operate to favor one particular group or the other. We were established to protect the consumers of financial products and services and to promote integrity in the non-deposit taking financial sector, securities, insurance, and private pensions. And therefore, the FSC is structured to meet our targets and mandate. We have 4 sector chiefs or directors. Yes, 4, I know I've only been mentioning 3, which of course would be the securities, insurance, and private pensions. But our newest sector is the trust and corporate services. And trust and corporate services relate to the setup, administration, servicing, and winding up of legal structures, such as trusts, funds, and other special purpose vehicles. The market is broadly divided in 3 distinct segments. That would be funds, private clients, and corporates. Now, if you are a licensed trust service provider doing any of the following, such as creating a trust or acting as a trustee, arranging for any person to act as a trustee, administration services.
Stop it. Hold your thought. I need you to stop.
Any other service may order, published in the Gazette, or prescribed as a trust. Now, the trust and corporate services may also include providing a registered office, business address, correspondence address, or administrative address for a company or firm, or any other person, as well as acting as or arranging for another person to act as a nominee shareholder for another person. In the coming months, weeks and months, you're going to be hearing a lot more about the registration, corporate and trust services division, as matters related to that are gazetted. And we'll be promoting its services as soon as those housekeeping matters are attended to. I'd just like to let you know that you can visit our website, www.fscjamaica.org, this website, new website is going to be relaunched very soon, and it will have a lot of information that will make you confident when investing in Jamaica, and particularly in the 3 or 4 sectors that we have under our remit. If you have queries, you can also write to us at ocir@fscjamaica.org. That's OCIR@fscjamaica.org. We are here to protect and to help. And of course, it would be remiss of me not to mention that financial literacy also helps to prevent scamming and investment in unregulated financial organizations or UFOs. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. And if you are in doubt whether an individual or company is licensed to offer financial advice or to sell financial products or services, get in touch with us at inquiry, INQUIRY, inquiry@fscjamaica.org, or you can send it to us at ocir@fscjamaica.org. We look forward to you getting in touch with us, and we are here, as I said, to offer any assistance that we can, and we are here to ensure that the regulated environment is regulated fairly. Thanks again to the Jamaica Stock Exchange for this opportunity. Thanks to the fellow sponsors of the National Investor Education Week, and thanks to fellow presenters, and of course our moderator, Andre. Always glad and happy to collaborate with the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, David, longtime partner of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, longtime friend and supporter of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and have doing a great job at the FSC. We thank you for your input. There's a business opportunity in the chat for someone, for a broker, and also a question, I think, on somebody addressing you as well, David. So I'm asking you to have a look at that when you get an opportunity. But we're going to move on, and we're going to ask now Tamika Ricketts, Registrar Services Unit of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, to present to us. Her responsibilities at the Stock Exchange as the Assistant Manager for the Registrar Unit includes overseeing the operations of the entire Registrar Services Unit. She's been in the financial industry for over 10 years with a Bachelor of Science degree in Management Studies, concentration in marketing, and she's also a certified associate in project management. I now invite you to listen to one of the many superstars at the Jamaica Stock Exchange team, Tamika Ricketts. Over to you, Tamika.
All right, thank you very much for that, Andre. I really want to welcome everyone to this session, and I'm sure if you haven't gotten your paper or your book and your pen, I'm just asking that you just pause for 30 seconds. You just grab some writing material so that whatever it is that, in terms of sharing email addresses, contact numbers, anything in particular that you would really want to remember in terms of making contact, that you will be in a position to remember and be able to contact us. So while you grab that, as Andre mentioned, my name is Tamika Ricketts, and I am the Assistant Manager for the Registrar Services Unit here at the Jamaica Central Securities Depository. So my presentation will really be on mandates and what benefits can actually be garnered from having a mandate in place. So before we get into it, the sub heading from mandates and its benefits is really to say or go into how you secure your dividend payments. So let's start by saying, what is a dividend? So in terms of defining a dividend, it's the distribution of some of a company's earnings to a class of its shareholders, as determined by the company's board of directors. So Michael earlier would have alluded to the fact that companies listed on the JSE pays dividends, and this is a way that you can actually earn. So in comparison to the price appreciation, getting dividends when the company that you've purchased shares in actually declares a payment is another way that you earn from investing. So simply put, it's a share of the profits and a share of the pie. So as that picture has it, once the company pays, if we have 2,000 shareholders on record as at what we term a record date, then 2,000 persons will get paid. So what the record date is, and usually when the company declares, they state the record date, they state the ex-dividend date, they state the payment date, and they state the price as at which that they will be paying. So once you are a shareholder on the register as at the record date that is stipulated in the declaration, then you will get paid. So let's get now into the meat of the matter. What is a mandate? So a mandate represents instructions provided to the JCSD relating to the handling of your dividend or interest payment. Types of mandate, there are three main types. We have bank mandates, we have hold and / collection, and we have a third-party mandate. So the most popular one is the bank mandate. So when we talk about a bank mandate, we are speaking to the investors, giving us instructions to say when a payment is declared, basically do not send me a check, but send the funds directly to my bank account. Because the default method of payment is payment via check. So if a payment is declared, you know, you've purchased the shares, you're now so excited about investing, you have all your stocks, but then you did not take that further step in making sure that your accounts actually have mandate instructions on record. What will happen is that, and especially for the persons who are overseas, when the payments are made, you may have had a Jamaican address on your account, or you know, you may have had your overseas address on the account. But when a payment is made, you may end up getting a check overseas that you can't negotiate over there, or you may have had your Jamaican address that maybe, you know, you really don't want checks to be going to that address. So to eliminate all of that back and forth, and then, you know, having to contact the registrar after how many payments have been made and you're not sure if you got the checks, you're not sure if you got the funds, make sure that you secure your dividends by providing us with instructions as to where to send the funds to. So all investors can manage their dividend payments by completing a mandate form. And this is more popularly known as our investor instruction form. So once you go on the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website, you can go through the navigation by selecting the JCSD logo, selecting the registrar, and then you will see forms that we use. Or you can just search in the search bar, investor instruction form, and you will see it coming up. So once you've identified that form, the sections are pretty clear. Just follow the instructions, fill out the form, and then send back. So in a slide to come, I will be showing you or outlining the email addresses and other ways that once you have completed this form that you can submit. So persons usually ask, is it only commercial banks that I can send my dividends to? No. So the section that asks for the financial institution, you can actually include credit unions, your own stockbrokers, if it is a case that, you know, you set up reinvesting procedures with your brokers. So you'd say to them, okay, when a payment is made, I want you to reinvest my funds. Michael alluded to the fact that if there's an IPO, rather than finding new funds, if the same dividend payments that are paid are sent to your broker and you indicate to them what to do with the funds, then once an IPO is out, you can readily tell them, use that amount to purchase into it. And that same thing about, you know, the offers closing early, then you're sure to really cap into that opportunity of having your funds readily available and the broker being able to reinvest on your behalf. We also take instructions for building societies. If it is a case that you have a building society and you want the funds to go to the building society, you can also include that as a mandate. So going through in terms of the next slide, just a few benefits. So one of the main benefits is that you're able to receive your dividend/interest payment on payment date. And guess what? We always say this time is money, right? So if a payment is due today and we send a check to you based on where you live, if it has to go through 3 different post office, by the time it gets to you, you know, we have no control over the operations of the post office. It may be some weeks, sometimes even days, weeks, before the check actually gets to you. So time is money. So that time that, you know, it would have taken for the check to reroute to post office and reach into you, and then for you to now get the check to go to the bank, time is money. So once you have the mandate instructions, we have it that is to go to your commercial bank. On payment date, real-time processing, your payment is credited directly to your bank account on payment date for your use. Another benefit is you're able to reinvest in a timely manner. I always speak about this example where a shareholder actually was receiving payments via checks, and she called and said, you know, Tamika, I've added up all my checks and the total is almost 250,000 Jamaican dollars. And she said, you know, I really wanted to participate in this offer that was out at the time. And the same amount that when she added up the checks, that's the amount that she wanted to purchase or use to purchase into the IPO. And by the time that she got to the bank to deposit the checks, the offer had already closed. So when she called now and, you know, wanting to get in contact with her broker, the offer had already closed. So if it was a case that the funds were already in her account, that she could have transferred to her broker, or she had mandate instructions for the funds to go directly to her broker, then you can already picture the different outcome that would have come from that situation. Should have just been able to advise her broker, do this, take the funds from here, and then she would have been able to take part in that offer. So it allows you to reinvest in a timely manner. It's also better in terms of record keeping. When, as you know, we're all on here would know, when you have your statements, you're able to download your bank statements. And in terms of checking off, if you're somebody who wants to see transaction, being able to print off and highlight that type of thing, you're able to see all the credits to your account and knowing what each of them represents. Other than better record keeping, there's no more physical trips to the bank with checks, right? So I believe now most of the banks have the kiosk systems where you can take the checks there. But other than that, you would have had to stand in a line, wait to get to a teller, deposit the check, wait for the check to clear, and all of that. So with mandates, the good news is no more physical trips to the bank with the checks, because on a payment date, you will be receiving your funds in real time. So this is the meat of the matter part in terms of how do I submit. So once you've identified the investor instruction form on the JSC's website, these are the email addresses. You can screenshot it, you can take a picture of it, so that once the form has been completed, then you submit to these three. So it's emailing to our depository services unit and copying the registrar, or you can deliver directly to us based on where you're situated, or you can also deliver to your stockbroker for further submission to the JCSD. All right, so you can capture that information so that you're able to actually submit your form when you have completed it. So we've gone through what a mandate is, we've gone through the benefits of a mandate, and I'm sure that there are persons on this call or on this meeting that, you know, you have shares, you probably don't even have a clue as to where your dividend payments are going. So these questions are really to ponder, to have you thinking in the right direction in terms of securing your dividends and being able to benefit from mandates. So one of the questions is, why invest and abandon my returns? So you're also excited in investing, but then one of the primary benefits of investing by gaining mandates, you would have abandoned that. The checks are going north, some going south. You have one account with one old address, you have two with the new address, you have one with mandates. So it's time now, and that is why these sessions are always so important. And in terms of just jotting down what you need to remember, in terms of when tomorrow morning comes and you want to take action, that you recall, you know, why am I abandoning my returns? Why do I have mandate instructions on one JCSD account and not on the other? So we'll find that, yes, you have 5 broker accounts with 5 different brokers, but then only one has mandate. The others are going to your address. Some of the addresses are not up to date. So call your broker, find out what information is on your account. You can also reach out to us, and we will also confirm if it is a company that we manage, and we will guide you again in terms of updating your account. Why am I not being proactive by adding mandate instructions prior to a dividend being declared? So, you know, again, you're excited, you've bought into the shares, but then when you look, the payment has been declared and the check has been sent out, and that is not what you wanted. So be proactive and submit your mandates before a payment has been declared. So as soon as you've bought into the IPO or you've bought on the secondary market, call up your broker, call us up and say what information is on my account, and just make sure that the information is updated. Why have I not told my friends and family to do so? So you are here getting the information. Tomorrow, call up your family, call up your friends, and pass on the information as well, so that they too can start securing their dividends. And also, going back to the scenario that I gave, how much money could I have earned if I had secured my dividends? So the same dividends can be used to purchase new shares. It can be used to go into other investments, but then you have the checks lying around the house. So be proactive, act now, identify all your JCSD account numbers, so you can take a screenshot of this or a picture as well. Identify all your JCSD accounts, submit mandates for all accounts without mandates. Stop receiving checks, receive dividend payments directly to your bank account on payment date. And last but not least, be proactive. So the time is now. call your broker, find out the information on hand on your account, and make sure that everything is up to date. So at the end of the day, we are just here to guide you in terms of just making sure that once you invest, that you're able to reap the benefits of actually investing. So this here comes to the end of my presentation. I hope at least one point you were able to take away so that you can move forward with your investing life and make sure that you're benefiting in all areas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tamika. Completely comprehensive there. There are some questions for you in the chat. Rather than delay, I think you can answer those directly,
Yes,
because those are straight at you. And Natalie is here, and I don't want to keep our audience waiting long, because everybody's waiting for Natalie and Hopeton to talk about the how. So without further ado, I'll introduce Natalie, who says that when you speak about wealth management and customer service, it's not unnatural to seek the best advice in the best class. One of her greatest passions is people, and she enjoys being able to bring value and satisfaction to people. She assists her clients in creating portfolios that will grow their wealth whilst offering them financial stability, and it's something she takes great pride in. She has been in the industry for over 29 years in wealth creation and wealth management. Background is a BSc in accounting from Northern Caribbean University, certificate in portfolio management, Jamaican securities course, wealth management, and long-term equity insurance sales. Natalie Longshaw Hall is a manager, wealth management, Mandible branch of Ncb Capital Markets. And we now invite Natalie to present. Welcome, Natalie. Remember to unmute. There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present in the Jamaica Stock Exchange Investors Week. And I know that I'm sure all of us here would have learned something already. And based on what I have to present this afternoon, which is the process of buying and selling stocks on the market, I'm sure some of us will learn something new. So without further ado, let me just go right into this. I just want to bring us to a quote from Robert Kiyosaki, and his quote is, "It's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for." And I'm sure all of us here would want to know that when we are working, we at least save something from it. And whatever we say, we want to put it down for retirement, which was mentioned before, and also for our generations to come, because this is how we create generational wealth. So in looking at the one-on-one of purchasing and selling stocks, we first have to look at what are stocks. And I'm sure we may have looked at this before, but I just want to jump in a little bit on this. So what are stocks? Stocks, also known as shares, are equities or securities that represents a fraction of a company. That is those companies that are listed on a stock exchange. And of course, when you buy these stocks, you own a few of them. And these companies issue stocks to raise funds. There are two main types of stocks, of course, that you can purchase. And these are the common stocks, which are the ones that are traded on a daily basis. And of course, they are the preferred stocks which normally have an interest rate attached to it and a specific time horizon for maturity. The process of buying and selling stocks, we do buy to generate profits, and this can be done in two ways. You can benefit from capital appreciation, and this is when you buy stock at, say, one price, and the price appreciates over time. And when you sell it, then the difference in what you buy it for and what you gain is that capital appreciation. And of course, what was mentioned a short while ago by Tamika, the dividend payments, which of course is a part of your income, and those dividend payments can be sent to your account. It is recommended that you get them sent to an account so that you don't lose revenues, because, you know, from time to time when these checks come in, they may get lost in the mail, or you are out of the island or out of town, and someone may pick it up by error, or it get misplaced, and then that's just revenues that's lost. So it's best to have it lodged in an account. How to get started with opening your equity account. Of course, this is the meat of the matter. We look at the process, and trust me, guys, it is as easy as 1, 2, 3. First, you need to establish an equity account, or we say stock account, with a brokerage firm. Capital Markets is one of those, Ncb Capital Markets is one of those brokerage firms, and you can establish your account there. Once you establish the account, a JCSD number is obtained, and once that a number is obtained, then you can transfer your funds into your equity account, and from there you can start registering. It was mentioned before by one of our presenters that JTrader Pro can facilitate you purchasing your shares online, as well as at Ncb Capital Markets. You can register on our Ncb Wealthconnect app, and through this you can buy and sell your shares as you see fit. Now, once you open your Ncb Capital Markets equity account, there are advisors on hand who can assist you in making the right choices. And of course, there are recommendations that comes out on a weekly basis that you can use as your regular stock picks to purchase your shares. Now, to establish your account, there are some requirements. And these requirements are normally on hand because most of us receive some of these things via our email, or even we have them at our fingertips. So requirements are: 1, ID. This can be driver's license, passport, national ID. You would need your tax registration number, or for short, TRN. You would need a proof of address. That proof of address can be a utility bill, postmark envelope that can be used for your proof of address. Proof of income. This can be a letter from your employer, or 3 months pay slip, or for those persons who are self-employed, but it's not a registered business. We have some forms at our financial institution that you can collect, and you can have this completed by a JP, Minister of Religion. And then outside of that, now, for those persons who have registered business, then they can get a letter from their accountant as proof of income. References are required. No, it's not a written letter that we require. You can take the name and number of the referee. Again, you can use a JP, a pastor, a customer of the bank who has been banking with Ncb for over a year. You can use them as referee, and then you can complete your application form. For those of our clients who already bank with Ncb and have an online access, then you can use our goipo.jncb.com to open your brokerage account or your stock account. Now, once you have opened the account, we have our Ncb Wealthconnect that you can use as your means of purchasing and selling shares. And this is if you are one who doesn't want to come into office. But if you do want to come into office, then we have our advisors who we will not leave you by yourself. you can come in and we can give you guidance on how to on how to purchase your shares. Now, on the Ncb Wealthconnect, you have things at your fingertip. You can obtain market updates in terms of top performers, worst performer. You can create your own watch list. That is those companies that you may be interested in and you want to watch them on a daily basis. You can create that list. You can do your portfolio management. Through this is where we place orders, look at your account balance. You can track your gains and loss. You can track the trading prices. You can view your order history as to how you have been buying and selling shares. Guys, this is all at your fingertips. And this is just a view of what our page would look like when you go into on the app, and it shows you the best performer, the worst performer, and so on. And then this is another look in terms of where you go to select your order type, whether you're buying stocks or selling stocks, and it shows you the companies that are already listed and the price and stuff like that. So guys, it's pretty easy once you open your account with us and go from there. Again, I will go over your stock trading checklist. First, you need to establish a trading goal. That is how you want to buy and sell shares, the type of companies you want in your portfolio. You need to choose the right broker. Ensure that it's a licensed financial advisor that is giving you advice. You also need to get your stock recommendations. Of course, you know, Ncb Capital Markets provide those stock recommendations. You need to have a diversified portfolio in terms of those stocks that will be around for a long time, those stocks that will, of course, give you great dividends, and of course, those that will give you growth over time. And of course, risk management. You need to know the amount of risk you need to take on. And of course, by that, you know how much you'd want to put into the market and those stocks that you want to, of course, purchase. And pretty much in a nutshell, that is how we would recommend you buying and selling your shares and how to get started. Thank you so much for your time. And of course, if you want to contact me, my numbers, you can reach me at 876-447-7864, or my email address is longshawns@jncb. Of course, you can reach out to the company at ncbcapinfo.com, .jncb.com. Thank you so much.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you very much. Just type your email in the chat or your contact number in the chat so that
I will.
And there are a couple of questions there in the chat for you as well, which I will draw your attention to. So
okay, and I will answer them.
Right. So you can get to those and answer the questions of our participants. There's a question there, Tamika, that you can answer as well. Marlene is still asking a question there. Good question too. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
And now I am going to ask you to welcome the man of the moment, the J Trader man of the moment, Mr. Hopton Ridgard, branch manager, Fairview, Montego Bay for Barita Investments. Hopton has a passion for investments and people with over 19 years of experience in the financial industry. Currently works as the branch manager for Barita Fairview branch in Montego Bay. He has spent years as a client services officer, personal portfolio manager, corporate relationship manager, and now he's a branch manager. He has a Bachelor of Science in Management Studies from the University of the West Indies, and his strong leadership skills has augured well for his clients and his team. His guiding principle is a quote from Tony Robbins, which is remain positive, where focus goes, energy flows. Wow. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Hopton Ridgard, Barita Investments. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Andre. I appreciate it very much. And I'd like to commend the Jamaica Stock Exchange for their continued trust in financial education. I think it's critical, it's very important. Tonight, I'm here to share with you the ABCs of online trading. And I think it's quite important to stress how much these developments have assisted in terms of developing the markets in Jamaica, of course, in the rest of the world. I feel compelled, like David, to big up my alma mater, which is Knox College, and for the foundation I got from there. I'm sorry, let me just clear this. Right, so ABCs of trading. I feel like Natalie and I were studying together because our presentations resemble each other. It allows me to go through quickly these first few slides. Right, so she already went through what is a stock, and of course it represents a unit of ownership in a company. Investors in equities become part owners of companies. And why that's important is that you, in investing in a company, provide capital to boost the growth of existing companies, and in turn, you realize returns on your investment. That's important for the development of a country like Jamaica, because capital is required, and there are companies who have the potential to really grow our economy, and you have a part to play in that, and you can realize some really good returns, as we've seen over the last several years with the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Online trading is simply the trading of stocks or other similar securities using internet or computer and other electronic devices. And any device you're watching us on now can be used to trade stocks now from anywhere in the world. And that, if you've ever traded stocks prior to electronic or online trading, you realize how significant it is. In previous years, stocks were traded by physical certificates. Literally, I have a piece of paper like this, or several pieces of paper like this, which you would then have to take to your broker. Could potentially be on the other side of the island. And quite possibly by the time you get to your broker, the opportunity or the price you would have wanted to trade at would have changed significantly. Online trading has just changed that significantly to the extent that physical stock certificates are no longer traded. And I should say that if you still have your physical stock certificates, you should take them into your broker and have them dematerialized so that you can actually start trading those shares. Trading in the past had to be done in person, and the transaction times were significantly longer. As I said, you have to visit your broker, which could be several miles away. There's also the potential risk of loss and damage. If they get wet, if they get destroyed somehow or misplaced, or you can't find that box that you placed it in several years ago, you could also miss out on the opportunity to trade your stocks. Online trading provides wealth at your fingertips. It's easy access to the stock market. It allows you the ability to place orders at any time of day. So even outside of trading hours, you can actually place trades on the DreTrader platform or several other similar online platforms. The DreTrader provides you with current market information, bid and ask prices, trade volumes for all listed stocks. So it provides you with information on a timely basis so you can make good trading decisions. Information is very important when trading stocks. Knowing what the current buy price is, or the bid price, or the current ask price, or the price that stocks are being offered at any given time, can make a difference between how much you earn off of your stock transaction. The ability to trade from anywhere in the world. And this is particularly important because I don't know how many of you have heard of an opportunity on the stock exchange, a good stock to buy, the right time to get into the stock, and you just don't have the ability to get to it. You can't get to your broker. The phone is ringing without an answer. You're just not able to put through that transaction, and you miss out on that opportunity. So online trading allows you to trade from anywhere. You're also able to access your transaction history, which is also quite important because sometimes you're trying to remember, what did I buy this stock at? how much money am I making off of it? So being able to look back at your online trading platform and assess what your trading activity was like can determine how easily you can track your trading history. And getting started is easy. You need a valid photo ID and your TRN, the taxpayer registration number, a proof of address, like a utility bill, or voter registration number, voter registration card, proof of income or source of funds, and 2 references, name and telephone number of 2 references. So it is basically the same as setting up any other investment account. Most importantly, though, you identify a good broker. And Natalie said this, and I want to stress it. It's important to find a good broker, someone who's licensed, someone who's registered with the relevant regulatory authorities to give you good advice. You also need to open a broker account and a JCSD account. The broker account is linked to the JCSD and is very critical in online trading because that JCSD account is what links your brokerage account at your broker with the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Is where your accounts, your stocks or shares are held. Now, JTrader Pro is a system I've used and I find to be quite efficient, quite easy to use, to the extent that I've been able to pull over on the side of the road at 12:30 or 1:45 before the trading close and make a critical transaction. It's very easy to use. The getting started, of course, is taking your JCSD account and registering on the JTrader platform and linking that JCSD account to the JTrader Pro platform. You will have to advise your broker. They will need to know that you have a JTrader Pro account because there are internal things that they will need to do to link the accounts. Things like moving money into your JTrader Pro account to start trading. You'll also need to talk to an investment advisor about your investment objectives. It's great to have access to the market, easy access to the market, but it's also important to know what your objectives are, what type of stocks you should be buying, what your risk tolerance is, so you can measure or determine how much you're investing into the stock market. It's also important to know the different types of stocks, because if you're entering the market, you're trading without that knowledge, you could find yourself buying stocks that are not in line with your risk tolerance, not appropriate for what you're trying to achieve. There are several classes of stocks, for example, like preference shares, common stocks, and knowing the difference is key to earning the type of returns that you're looking for. Common stocks provide capital gains. Preference shares provide primarily dividends. So it depends on what your objectives are, and it'd be good to determine and assess that with your broker before you start trading. It's also important to learn the language. When you go onto that trading platform, you'll see a number of terms. Many of them are easy to assess and understand, but some of them you'll need to understand what they mean before you start trading. The symbol, for example, is a stock symbol, and it's usually an abbreviation of the name of the company, right? So for example, Barita is listed as BIL, Barita Investment Limited. So if you want to purchase Barita, that's likely the name you're going to see. And it's important to look around the system, familiarize yourself with the terms before you start trading. The bid price is a price that you're willing to pay, that an investor is willing to pay for the stocks. And you'll see bid prices there listed. Of course, if you're trading online, the top bid price is likely to go to get traded first. So if you really want the stock, you don't want to know whether you want to bid above the existing or put in a price above the existing bid price, or you want to remain at a lower level. The ask price is what investors are willing to sell for. So if you want to buy a stock, you need to determine, are you willing to pay that price? You can also put in an offer to buy below those prices. A market order is also a very important term to understand, because a market order is really you setting a price or setting an order to sell or buy stocks immediately at the best price. So you're pretty much willing to offer whatever is being sold at that time. Your trader will look at those prices and determine or be able to place your order at the top of the queue or top of the buy or sell orders, because you want to buy at whatever the market order is, as opposed to a limit order, which is you setting a maximum price or minimum price that you are willing to buy or sell a stock at. So it's very important to familiarize yourself with these terms. Also, the expiry dates are important. Do you want to have an open order that will be open until you get the price, that limit price you want, or do you want to set a limit date? You could, for example, cut off at the end of the week. You don't want to trade beyond Friday's date. You want to be able to reassess your order at the end of a week. And so you can set the time, or the time at which, or the date at which your order will expire. It's also important to be aware of the resources that can provide you with information. The Jamaica Stock Exchange website is a wealth of information. It provides you the financial results of the companies, any updates that are taking place. Upcoming IPOs and APOs are listed on the stock exchange. And that's usually the place you'll see it first. So if you're going to be trading online, it's important that you spend some time on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website, which is jamstockx.com. Barita also provides a wealth of knowledge. We provide our research papers, we research companies and provide recommendations on the different companies that are available to purchase. And so our website, www.barita.com, allows you to read and access these research documents at any time. We also provide recommendations, and it's also important to know the terms of the recommendations. An overweight recommendation means that it's a strong purchase and more than 10% of your portfolio can be allocated. Underweight, of course, you buy more cautiously. Accessing APOs and IPOs as well, and this may be particularly important to persons in the diaspora. You may hear of a company listing on the stock exchange very soon, and you want to participate, but you're not in the island. You're not able to access a broker. The Barita Boss system allows you to purchase IPOs from anywhere in the world, and so you no longer have to fly down to Jamaica to try and catch the latest IPO. You can access it from anywhere in the world. And also the Investopedia.com is a good resource for getting definitions on different stocks. You may hear a term. I may have said something during this presentation. You're not really sure what that term means. You can actually research it on Investopedia.com. Now, the key thing to note is the ease with which you can trade on the stock exchange from these online platforms. As I said, you can do it from any device. If I were you, I would actually go ahead and register on JTrader Pro tonight. I believe I shared the website earlier in the presentation, but I can share it again in the chat. So you can familiarize yourself. You can understand what the trading prices of different stocks are. You can also familiarize yourself with different companies that are available. There are several different indices that are tracked, the main market, the junior stock exchange. There are also stocks that are listed in US dollars on the stock market. So for those of you who want to invest in Jamaica, but you'd rather to keep your funds in hard currency, there are several companies that trade in US dollars. 15 minutes would give me enough time to really get into all that's required to trade on the Jamaica Stock Exchange online, but I'm open to answering some questions in the next few minutes. So if you've ever tried to trade trade online, or if you have any challenges getting set up, or if you want any information as to how to get started, please feel free to ask those questions now. And I'd like to thank Jamaica Stock Exchange again for having me.
Thank you, Hopeton. Excellent presentation. I'm suggesting that you put your email address and your other contact details in the chat as well.
Will do.
So that individuals can contact you, because you are correct. There is both between yourself and Natalie. I'm sure there are other questions that persons wouldn't want to ask here, but they'd want to speak to you personally. And it also presents an opportunity for you guys to build some other relationships. So I would suggest that you do that. See, Venice is just asking how to get started. So I suggest that Venice, he sent his email address, so you can give him a call. You can call any one of the other advisors that are here. This really is a tremendous opportunity. The online platforms provide you with investors, especially those overseas, with an avenue to manage your risk, manage your portfolio from a distance. And the option of buying US securities, which is an important one that Hopeton mentioned. And I would want you to take advantage of that as well. So in doing the wrap up, I would want to, first of all, thank our sponsors, Ncb Capital Markets, Barita Investments, Jamaica Stock Exchange eCampus, the Bank of Jamaica, Sagicor Investments, FHC Investments, MH and Company Business Advisors, the Financial Services Commission, and JDIC, Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation, for joining us, for sponsoring us and partnering with us here to put this on. And there are several business opportunities in the chat for the brokers. I see several people putting their hands up that they want to get started. So that's a good thing. It means we've made some progress. Special thanks to our Consul General, Mr. R. Oliver Meir, for bringing the greetings and connecting the diaspora to Jamaica. To Michael Johnson, who gave us the overview as to why to invest in the market. To David Geddes from the Financial Services Commission. I can tell you that the Financial Services Commission and the Jamaican capital markets is very well regulated. Your investments are protected by the work done by the Financial Services Commission. Also want to thank Tamika Ricketts, Assistant Manager, Registrar Services Unit at the Jamaica Stock Exchange, for the presentation on how to manage your dividends and to remove the need to have checks sent to you, but rather have some funds sent directly to your account. Thanks again to Natalie and to Hopeton, who both did a spectacular job. Yes, the presentation will be available online. I think it will be on our YouTube page. Kemar, you can verify that for me. It will be on our YouTube page. If not tonight, by tomorrow morning. I certainly want to thank you all for taking the time. 100 and odd persons were on here listening, learning. I see another question in there about how to get started if you're living in the United States. So I encourage the advisors online to look at those questions and those provide a response. Thank you everyone for participating. Tomorrow is open house at the Jamaica Stock Exchange, where we'll be online and in person, an entire day, more of the same, more presenters, more information on investing in the region. So you can join us. Registration is still open. You can go to our website and register there. And then on Friday, we have a youth forum as we close National Investor Education Week, where the young people will get a chance to learn a little and to have their own inputs, have their questions answered on this business of investing. Thank you all very much for joining us. We hope you had a rewarding experience, and please, I encourage you to act on the information that you have learned today. And there's no time like the present to get started. The investment advisors will tailor products and portfolios for you based on your own needs, your own risk profile, and your own time horizon. So I encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity and remember the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Thank you very much and have a good evening.